I'd like to begin reading with you at verse 35, Matthew chapter 27, verse 35, and read down through verse 44, which is just a touch of the crucifixion event. Matthew chapter 27, verse 35. There were three religious trials that took place. There were three secular trials that took place. Those 6 trials are all over now. They are down to what they want to get accomplished. And it says in verse 35, when they crucified him, divided his garments, casting lots, that it might be fulfilled what was spoken by the prophet. They divided my garments among them, and for my clothing they cast lots. Sitting down, they kept watch over him there. And they put up over his head the accusation written against him, "This is Jesus, the King of the Jews." Then 2 robbers were crucified with him, one on the right and another on the left. And those who passed by blasphemed him, wagging their heads and saying, "You who destroy the temple and build it in 3 days, save yourself. If you are the Son of God, come down from the cross." Likewise, the chief priest, also mocking with the scribes and the elders, said, "He saved others. Himself he cannot save. If he is the King of Israel, let him now come down from the cross, and we will believe him. He trusted in God. Let him deliver him now if he will have him. For he said, I am the Son of God." Even the robbers who were crucified with him reviled him with the same thing. As you get into chapter 27, chapter 26 and 27, of course, are intimately connected, probably should be one big chapter. All of this information we're given about the whole crucifixion event, but the thing that's so interesting about it all, that he gives us no physical details of the actual crucifixion of Christ. We have description of all of these things that are going on around the cross event. There's the gambling of the soldiers. There's a thief on this side, a murder on this side. You got all this stuff that's being described. But when it comes right down to the actual kinds of things that I'd like to know about the physical involvement of Jesus in this suffering and crucifixion, it's nothing. We don't know how many blows, for instance, it took for the hammer to come down on a nail to put it into Jesus' hand. We don't know how many times they missed the nail and struck his fingers. We don't know, there's no description about the bugs, the birds picking at him, which had to have happened. Just no. In fact, the whole thing is just all wrapped up. Can you imagine laying him on the ground and stretching him out on a cross and then picking that thing up and his hands and then it thuds? Oh. No description of any of that kind of stuff. Interesting. The whole thing is all wrapped up in, for instance, verse 31 at the end. They led him away to be crucified. That's the whole thing. That's all it tells. Down in verse 35, then they crucified him. That's it. That's it. All the stuff you watched on the Passion, Mel Gibson's Passion, we don't have any of that. It's like he was saying, I'm afraid to give you this physical stuff, this physical description, because I'm afraid if I give you the physical description, you'll get all wrapped up in that and miss what's really going on. And you say, well, why would he think that? Well, that's exactly what we've done, and he didn't give us any physical description. And it's interesting that there's some kind of contrast being presented to us. Oh, there's dozens of them, but there is a contrast being given to us in the passage, which is really hard to come to. The contrast is this. Physical, spiritual. For instance, look at verse 35. Then they crucified him, divided his garments, casting lots that it might be fulfilled, which was spoken by the prophet. I'm a soldier and I don't get much money, and you can't really live well on a soldier's salary, and you have to get an extra job. You know, a lot of guys, they became bouncers. A lot of my friends, soldier friends, they became bouncers down at the bar. I didn't want to get into that. Family man, you know, didn't want to get into that. So I got a chance to get into crucifixion. Now, you understand, not everybody can crucify. I mean, come on. You got to have training. There's the etiquette of crucifixion. You got to know how to do it. And they always have 4 soldiers present at a crucifixion. And you have to go through training. I've already gone through the Saturday seminars, already got my training. Hey, my name's already on the roster. I'm in the rotation. In fact, hey, this coming Friday, we're going to crucify this guy by the name of Jesus. When we get paid for this crucifying and participating in a crucifixion, we get what the dead guy leaves. He doesn't need it. I mean, a dead guy, the guy that's being crucified, he always leaves 4 things: headgear, sandals, inner garment, and outer garment. Oh, we're going to crucify this Jesus this time. And you know, this Jesus, whoa, and are we in luck? We not only get these 4 things, but he left a 5th piece. Bonus! 5th piece, a seamless garment. Oh, I took one look at that and said, I got to have that garment. I got to have. My wife, she'd die for that. I got to have that seamless garment. She could make a dress that would, I got to have that garment. She could make 10 pairs of pants for the boys. I got to have that garment, that seamless garment. I want that thing. But the other 3 guys, they had claims on it. So they wanted to take the thing and cut it up into 4 equal pieces, ruining the whole thing. I said, no, you can't do that. I talked them into gambling over it. The other 3 have already thrown the dice. It's my turn. Oh, come on, Lady Luck. Come on, Lady Luck. Oh, be good to me. Please, if I could just, I got to win this garment. My wife will be thrilled. It'll be, save it for Christmas. This is it. This is it. I just got to have that. Come on, Lady Luck. All the time. Right there. Right there. Right there. They can reach out and touch him. Right there. In the unseen world, God is pulling off the biggest deal the eternities have ever seen. Right there. The redemption of mankind is right there. Forgiveness for sin. Right there. The generations of all times in the past are going to be altered forever. Right there. In the spiritual dynamics, in the unseen world, in the world you cannot measure. Right there. Right there. God is doubling up his fist and socking the devil square in the eye, giving him a blow he'll never get over. Right there. And all the time, if I could just win this seamless garment, I got to have that garment. Physical, spiritual. The leaders of Israel aren't much better. Look at them. Verse 41. Likewise, the chief priests also mocking with the scribes and the elders said, chief priests, scribes, and elders, yeah, well, they're the leadership of Israel. You know, they're the head of the denomination. They make up the Sanhedrin, see? And they've all gathered around the cross. See, they've got a physical problem with the physical Jesus because of their physical laws, which he's been physically breaking and physically messing up their physical playhouse down at their physical temple. He came in with his physical whip and turned the temple upside down. He turned tables over, physical tables over. There's physical money spread all over the floor. He messed up the physical place of what they were doing. And they can't have this physical upset all the time as he breaks their physical laws. So they got a physical committee together who came up with a physical plan to carry out a physical solution to the physical problem that they got, which is Jesus. They're standing at the foot of the cross, looking at a physical Jesus, wiping their physical hands, saying, we've taken care of it. All the time. Right there. Don't get too close, he'll bleed on you. Right there, right there. God is, can you imagine that unseen world, and God is stepping on the head of the devil right there, right there.
Generations of time are affected right there. Lives are going to be altered right there in the unseen world. Good job, boys. We solved the problem. Oh, if I could just win this for my wife. Physical, spiritual. Preacher, are you saying the physical's bad? No. Physical is not bad. Well, the spiritual certainly is bad. That's right. Spiritual isn't bad. Physical isn't bad. This isn't about good and bad, right and wrong. There's nothing wrong with the physical. Every time I kiss my wife, I say, whoa, thank God for the physical. See, there's nothing wrong with the physical. Nobody's against it. See, physical is okay. Spiritual is okay. So what's the problem? I want you to get this. Focus. Focus. Let me walk you through a couple things. You know this. God gave us the physical to facilitate the spiritual. God gave us the physical to facilitate the spiritual. Oh, come on, you know that. The writer of Hebrews, you know what he wrote about? He said, you know what's going on? We carried this tabernacle around. We carted the thing on poles. We set the thing up. We had all the equipment in the tabernacle in the Old Testament as we run it around in the wilderness, and we offered these sacrifices, and we had the candles, and we did all this physical stuff. And you know what that was all about, he said? All that whole thing of the tabernacle and the temple and all the sacrifices and all that stuff, you know what it was all about? It was to help us get into and become used to, so that when the real thing, he called this a shadow, when the real thing showed up, we wouldn't be so startled. We'd say, I think I've seen this. So this whole physical tabernacle and temple was all there to do what? To facilitate and move us in so we could grasp and get a hold of the spiritual. See, God gave us this to help us understand this. Jesus told all these parables. What were the parables about? Oh, they were so physical. There's this physical sower who goes out there with this physical seed, walks down a physical field and throws this physical seed into a physical field, and you got physical plants, and then you got a physical bird, and you got physical rocks and physical thorns, and oh, it's all so physical. And what's that all about? Trying to get you to see and he gave this to facilitate and move you into and help you to grasp and to get a hold of that was the whole deal. Come on, that's not so far-fetched. You come to church on a special Sunday and we give you this little piece of bread, you can't even put butter on it. And we give you this little cup and it's so small you say, I know I'm thirstier than that. And you take this stuff and you hold it in your hand and then you, and your tears begin to stream down your face. And what just happened? This whole thing was kind of it was to get you into, it was a stepping stone. God gave you the physical symbol to facilitate and move you into and try to get you to grasp and understand and see. Paul said in Romans 1:19 and 20, he said, you are without excuse. You are totally, absolutely without excuse. You know why? Because God reached down inside of himself, grabbed a hold of the power and immensity of his own being, yanked it out and jammed it into the universe all around you. And everywhere you look, every blade of grass, every leaf yells at you about the greatness of your God and how he loves you. And every physical thing he ever made is a testimony and a facilitator to try to get you into the... So this physical is all about, to facilitate and to move you into and to help you to grasp and to get a hold of them. You could just... You know what they did? Reversed it. They reversed it. Oh yeah, they reversed it. See, God gave us the physical to facilitate and get us into the spiritual. You know what they did? They wanted to reach out and grab a hold of the spiritual and facilitate the physical with the spiritual. They reversed it. Oh yeah, it's in the passage. For instance, the bypassers. Those who pass by wag their heads saying, "You who destroy the temple and build it in 3 days, save yourself. If you are the Son of God, come down from the cross." You know what they're saying? They're saying, if I was the Son of God, oh, that's spiritual, isn't it, being a Son of God? Oh, if you were a Son of God, that's tight with God. If you were the Son of God, oh, that's a hotline to heaven. If you were a Son of God, oh, man, that would put you in. If you were the Son of God, if I was that, you know what I'd do? I'd use that spiritual connection to do what? To get myself out of the mess I'm in. See, God gave us the physical to help us with the spiritual. They wanted to use the spiritual to help them with the physical. Don't be too critical. This person said to me, "I always have my devotions every morning." I said, "Why?" They said, I always read the Bible and pray before I leave the house." "Why?" I said, "I never go on a trip without praying first." "Why?" And you know what their answer was? "Well, if you don't pray before you go out of the house, you have no idea." Trip? Oh, man, I wouldn't go on a trip without praying first. You could have 4 flat tires. What were they saying? I'd reach up and grab a hold of it to... I was in this church. It was, I don't know how I got there. Plush carpet. They had overstuffed chairs in the Sunday school class. It was upper class. And there I stand or sit. I went to the Sunday school class, and sitting right next to me was this couple, young couple, husband and wife. They're sitting there, and she was decked out, and he was, whoa, what his suit was white. And I sat there and said, "Oh, man, I wish I'd have pressed my pants." Felt like crawling in a hole. They did the thing you do before, in Sunday school, before you have the lesson. You get prayer requests, and they write them on a board. She raised her hand. She said, "Pray for me, pray for me." Oh, everybody said, "We will. What's your prayer request?" "Oh," she said, and she named this big company, big company all over the United States. And she said, "I'm going in for my 2nd interview, and if I land this job, it'll mean big bucks. Pray for me as I go into this 2nd interview that things will go well." You know what she was wanting us to do? She wanted us to reach into and grab a hold of the spiritual realm and facilitate her physical. Some of you look a little nervous. Now, wait a minute, Manley. God told us to pray for things. I know. Ask and it will be given. I know. Seek and you'll find. I know. So you think it's wrong to pray for things? Come on, we're not dealing with right and wrong here. I'm trying to give you a concept. It's not about right and wrong. Nobody said it was wrong to pray for God to do things for you. Hey, forget that. We're not talking about right and wrong. We're talking a concept here. But isn't it interesting how we constantly want to use to help us with the... Would you be open to another approach? Would you be open to another idea? Would you be willing to take your physical circumstances, the physical circumstances, and instead of grabbing a hold of the spiritual reality that you know of, and to try to get the spiritual reality to affect your physical existence, would you get a hold of the physical existence? Would you look right in the middle of it, which is easy for you to do? Would you look right in the middle of your physical existence and the physical situation with you're in, and would you say, "You trying to tell me something?" Give you a second idea on top of that. Number one, God gave us the physical to facilitate the spiritual. Second idea, foundation. The foundation of the physical is the spiritual. Let me show you what I mean. See, now follow this. God gave us the physical to facilitate and move us into the spiritual realm. Once you're in the spiritual realm, you know what you're supposed to do? You're supposed to look back on the physical and judge everything through the spiritual. Let me give it to you again. See, God gave us the physical to facilitate and move us into the spiritual realm. Once you're in the spiritual realm, you know what you're supposed to do? Turn around, look at everything in the physical through the spiritual eyes, and everything in the physical is to be determined by the spiritual perspective. You know what these boys did? Reversed it. Typical, huh? They reversed it. Yeah, they did. They reversed it. For instance, look at the leaders of Israel, verse 41. If you go down to verse 42, he saved others, himself he cannot save. If he is the king of Israel. Oh, that's so spiritual. I know. If he is the king of Israel. Oh, that's so spiritual. That's really tight with God. King of Israel. That's over spiritual things. Let him now come down from the cross and we will believe him. Now, you say you're the king of Israel. That's a spiritual thing. But how do I know if you're the king of Israel? I'll tell you what will decide whether I believe you're the king of Israel, whether I believe in the spiritual realm and the dynamic of your spiritual leadership or not. When you physically come down from the cross, I'm going to believe because I'm going to let my physical perspective determine what I believe in the spiritual. That's backwards. I'm to get into the spiritual and let that determine what I believe about the physical. They wanted to get into the physical and let that determine about their spiritual. It's backwards. I don't believe in God. Yeah, I don't believe in God. I tell you, I don't believe. There couldn't be a God. Absolutely couldn't be a God. And if there is a God, I'll tell you this. He's mean and nasty, and I don't want a thing to do with him. Why do you say that? Oh, come on, preacher. Come on. Look all around you. See the starvation? See the whole China deal and the earthquake thing. And I mean, all these people sucked into a ground. Oh, come on, what's the deal? And you want to tell me that there's this good God out there who just loves everybody? Oh. You know what you're doing? You're looking at and you're letting that determine what you believe about That's backwards. That's backwards, man. That's backwards. God gave you the physical to facilitate and get you into the spiritual realm. And once you're in the spiritual realm, you're to our judge to everything in the physical through the spiritual eyes that God now has given you. Hey, haven't seen you for a while. You really look good. Oh, I am good, I'll tell you. God is so good, and I'm just praising the Lord during these days. I'll tell you, life is, God is so, I just can't express how, I've been wanting a promotion. Hey, I've been after that promotion for 2 years. 2 years, good. 2 years. And man, I finally got my promotion down at the job, and big bucks. Got this great big desk. Even gave me a chair from a desk. It's a great big office now, and man, I got my own parking spot, and this raise. With this raise, hey, we got the 5 acres outside of town. I've been wanting to live out there. Got these 5 acres now. We're building a new house out there. Wife is so excited. Got the whole thing designed. It's great, man. And the kids are going to be in a real good school district. And my boat. I've always wanted that boat. Woo! I made a down payment on that boat. Got my boat. I can hardly wait. God is so good. Our church. Yeah, church is doing great, man. Our Sunday school class people are just so loving. If you have a need, and everybody just comes together. We're just, it's so wonderful. And our pastor, it's rich. It's rich. Every Sunday morning, it's like a feast, man. He's just so wonderful. Yeah, everything. Praise the Lord. Glory to God. Man, I haven't seen you for about 1.5 years. You look terrible. I am terrible. Oh, brother, I'm in the pits. That promotion I got? Yeah, my new job? Yeah, the raise? Yeah, the big chair with my desk? Yeah, my own parking spot? Yeah, got that whole thing? I was there about 2 months and they fired me. Lay off. What on earth? I'm telling you. We just bought the 5 acres and started the house, man. We got the thing built and had to sell it. My wife, we're in some dump apartment down here. My wife is ticked off. Kids had to change school districts in the middle of the school year. Everything's upset. They came and got my boat. My boat. They came and got my boat. It just broke my heart. I'm telling you. Our church. We're not going there anymore. Yeah, Sunday school class. Picky. Bunch of cliques, man. They're not worth it. And my pastor, I tell you, he was, I don't know. He must get his sermons out of Reader's Digest or something. It's so light. He just tells jokes and it's nothing to it. See, when everything's going well in the, glory to God, hallelujah, woo! And when things get all messed up in the, that's backwards. It's backwards. God gave us the physical to facilitate and move us into the spiritual realm. And when you get into the spiritual realm, you're to turn around and see everything in the physical, and it's to be determined by what you believe and what you know and the embrace and the intimacy of the warmth. Preacher, I'm still not getting this. So what's the problem? It's not the physical, that's right. It's not the spiritual, that's right. The physical's not bad, that's right. The spiritual's not bad, that's right. Nothing wrong with the physical, no. Again, every time I kiss my... we went over that. There's nothing wrong with the physical. Well, what's the problem then? Focus. Focus. What's your focus? Are you focused on the... I'm going to give you a little test. Take a big sheet of paper, draw 2 lines down in the center, kind of in the center, make 3 columns. First column, I want you to put event. Second column, I want you to put how long. Third column, I want you to put category, physical or spiritual. And I want you to log all your activities, everything you do, whatever you're about, and see whether it is in the category of the physical or the spiritual. 5 o'clock in the morning, the alarm goes off. Shut that stinking alarm off! Log that in. Yelled at the alarm, 15 seconds, physical. Log it down. Now it's on snooze. Shut that! Yelled at it twice. Physical. You get out of bed, oh, my back is killing me. Complained about my back. 20 seconds. Physical. You go in, you look in the mirror. Oh! Repulsed by my own face. Physical. You brush your teeth. Oh! 20 seconds. Physical. You get down and get a cup of coffee. Oh, gotta have my coffee. Physical. Got in the car driving to work. Oh, physical. Guy cuts you off. Honk the horn. Physical. Work all day. Physical. Come on. Physical. Eat you something. Physical. Watch TV. Physical. Go to bed. Physical. Get up in the morning. Shut that stinking thing. Physical. Now, preacher, that's not fair. There was some spiritual things in my day. I prayed before my meals. What do you expect me to do? I live in a physical world. You want me to quit brushing my teeth? No. Please, brush on longer. What do you want me to do? You want me to stop? No. No. It's focus. It's focus. Let me show you. Got the columns? Alarm goes off. Shut the alarm off. Woo! Glory to God, another day. Spiritual. You jump out of bed. Oh, my back, it's hurting. Thank God I got a back to hurt. Spiritual. You go in and look in the mirror. Ooh, repulsed by my own face. Thank God I don't have to look at it all day. Woo! Spiritual. Spiritual. Brushing my teeth. Thank God I got my own teeth. Woo! Spiritual. Spiritual. You go down and get a cup of orange juice. Thank God I've been delivered from coffee. Spiritual. Spiritual. You're driving to work, a guy cuts you off. You say, oh, probably had a fight with his wife. God bless him. Spiritual. Focus. See, the whole thing's focus. Don't quit anything. It's focus. 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 You're right, preacher. Been way too focused on the physical. Yep. Going to change my focus. No, you're not. No, I'm going to change my focus. No, you're not. No, you're not. No, you're not. Yes, I'll discipline myself and no, you're not. You won't. You know how I know? Because you can't. You can't. You just can't help yourself. See, it's like the screen with the snow on it. You can't, it's all out of, you got the lines and the knobs that straighten all that, adjust all that out, you can't get to them. There's some place right up there. You can't get to it. See, somebody has to come who's bigger than you are and go into the depth of your heart and give you. You can't pull that off. But once you see it, you know how great it is not to be overcome with your circumstances anymore? You know how great it is not to have what other people do overwhelm you and keep you down. Whew.
Oh, Jesus. Hundreds of people have gone to Good Friday service and have sung songs about the cross and have talked about your death and your physical suffering. Preachers have gotten up and described the torturous death of your dying on a cross. Could we here tonight be caught up in a whole spiritual realm? Yeah, graves were split wide open, rocks were split right down the middle, earthquakes took place. Yes, the veil was ripped from top to bottom, but God, all of that was just some physical stuff that was pointing us to the wonder of what you were doing in a spiritual realm that was so big and so far-fetched and so far beyond our minds that we can't even in this hour begin to describe or understand the depth of what that really means. Except I want it all in my life. And God, I'm tired of getting up in the morning and yelling at the alarm. I'm tired of just the physical grind of day in and day out. God, there's got to be more to this than just yelling at the guy who cut me off. Is there a whole other world that's just as real, in fact, more real than the physical? And is all of this just some kind of a shadow of the real deal, which is you and what you've prepared for us? Don't let me miss it. Heads are bowed. If you're willing to admit tonight that you've been way too captured by the physical, that you've been judging way too much of your life through the physical perspective, and if you're available for an adjustment, for somebody to go where you can't go and do in you what you can't do, and you'd like to kneel, say, God, give me a new view from your eyes, from where you are. Let me see my world. Yeah, I'm going to continue in the physical realm and do the physical stuff and brush my physical teeth and work in a physical job and drive a physical car and do the physical things. Oh, God. You trying to tell me something? Altars open. Anybody need an adjustment?